Station 162, home to the 43 firefighters and EMS personnel operating for the Truro Township Fire Department. This is Reynoldsburg has been given behind-the-scenes access to the men and women who operate within the fire station. Upon arriving at the station, we're introduced to the common activities the men and women of the fire department partake in later in the day. Today, that means playing cards and watching a Blue Jackets game.
Did you turn it down? No. He plays for like 10 minutes. Alright. Good start. Did you just look at my hand?
Firefighters spend a third of their life at work. It's not like we go in and punch a clock at 9 o'clock in the morning and we're home in the evening at 5 o'clock. We spend a third of our lives with each other, and that's for a 24-hour period. A certain amount of camaraderie and team building takes place. I know on 3 Unit we have an activity at 7 o'clock. Quite a few of us sit down and play Jeopardy, and it gets kind of heated. But it's just like having a big family, and it's essential to what we do because we all count on one another.
The guys that are working here, they're more than just some guy you work with or girl you work with. They become, most of the time we're friends on the outside. We're doing things, out of here and we always talk about this place. It is part of you. And I always said that, and I'd heard it before, but I truly believe it now with almost 21 years on, that you either love this job or you're not doing it. That's the cool part, is you're working with people that they love the job.
Overwood Drive. Respond on MEC EMS 1, 1854 hours.
Hours after meeting the team and exploring the fire station, our first call initiates, and our cameras begin their weekend's work. Responding to a citizen in need often means responding to people in the community that many of the responders know personally.
Having grown up in Reynoldsburg, I would say several times a day going out on runs, I'll know the person we're running on. Which to me, that can be the best treatment, like knowing the person, just talking to them, that trust factor, just having someone to talk to can be the best treatment sometime. This patient we just went on was a classmate of mine. We graduated high school together back in 2001.
Early on in my career, it was hard. I don't know if you just become callous, but I've embraced, knowing the people and being able to communicate with the family, exactly what we're going to do, and so I don't find it difficult. I'm actually kind of relieved when I know the person. It's nice to be able to help the people that you grew up with.
Thankfully, the patient in question displayed no signs of anything more serious than a common cold, a frequent call for the Truro Fire Department.
We average anywhere from 10 to 15 runs a day. This run we just went on was general illness, sick person. Our patient was complaining of nausea, vomiting. Pretty much that's one of our more routine runs, especially this time of year. Cold and flu season.
Back at the station, it's time for rest. During a firefighter's 24-hour shift, it's important to get as much as possible.
Out of everything, that's the hardest. And as you get older, it gets harder and harder. And families and kids and, people in your life that you live with daily that do sleep. And no job is better than the other. We need everybody's job for this world to go around, but, you know, even a 9 to 5. I mean, I don't want to work 5 days a week. I would not even know how to do that. I don't know how people do. But it's also, on the other hand, when they go home and sleep, they can kind of reset, go back to work. There's a light at the end of their tunnel at the end of the day. Like, they're like, well, I can leave at 5 and I can go watch some TV or take a nap. And here it's just like, you kind of go in, okay, I just gotta get to around dinner and I get some sleep, and then you run all night and you're like, if I can just get to 2 a.m., if I can just get to 7 a.m., if I can just get home. Like, it, as you get older, I can't keep up. Like in my 20s, I mean, you could just bounce around on 2 hours of sleep and no big deal. But yeah, getting closer to 40, I think that's probably the most stressful thing about it.
1:30 a.m. As the station falls fast asleep, a fire alarm at a residential property is triggered. Through our visiting weekend, there were around 3 calls a night. At the very least, a call will take an hour from a firefighter's sleep. Though several trucks alternate between calls, sleep is a valuable asset that rarely goes uninterrupted. On this particular call, firefighters are responding to a residential alarm. Though there are over 2 million cases of false or faulty alarms reported annually within the United States, the firefighters never take safety precautions for granted. Upon arriving, they immediately check the home for signs of life or fire.
Dispatch got called for a reported fire alarm or smoke detector going off in the residence. We can see through all the windows, there's no smoke, no fire, no audible fire alarm or smoke detector going off. The information they gave us to go through the garage door and the code is wrong, and we don't want to force entry because there's no obvious hazard. And dispatch said that the homeowner's on their way here.
Upon conclusion that there are no signs of danger, the firemen try to gain entry to the home. Making sure the property is safe is their next priority. After the homeowner arrives, the team of firefighters are cleared by dispatch to leave. As we arrive back at the station, the team removes their gear and try to get back to sleep. A difficult task when the next call could be moments away. 8 a.m. As one unit ends their 24-hour shift, another begins.
We have a video crew here today. They're taking pretty much every run. They know what they can and can't film. They've signed waivers and everything like that. So.
One is myself, Settlemeyer's driving, Armentrout's in the back. Medics.
A firefighter's day starts with the morning briefing. The meeting informs the incoming team on what equipment issues there are and sets the pace for the entire shift.
Chief, should we call it Dr. D?
Mostly, these morning meetings are led by battalion chiefs, who lead units assigned to them. It's a role that comes with an immense amount of pressure, added on to an already stressful career.
My role in a larger fire is to make sure that determine what strategy we're going to use, whether it's offensive or defensive, the tactical plan of action, deploying the companies to accomplish that, and control the resources and make sure that we have enough resources coming in to take care of the situation.
Firefighters respond to a myriad of calls every day, but when they're not on call, they use the valuable time for training. Under certain circumstances, the men and women of Station 162 could be going through potentially life-threatening situations in order to help those in need. Under such intense stress, training can better prepare them for what could come. In today's drill, Station 162 practices one of the most important situations while on a fire call.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
A firefighter inside of a burning building reports a mayday. His oxygen is depleting. Without the correct amount of oxygen in a burning building, firefighters are at risk of going unconscious.
Firefighter Mace off engine 162. I've become off the line, disoriented. I'm in the basement. I need a RIT team. I'll set off my pass.
Outside, a second team rushes to the rescue of the downed firefighter. Inside the building, the downed firefighter's equipment sounds an alarm, letting his rescuers know where he is and that his oxygen is dangerously low.
You hear me? Hey, you hear me? You hear me?
After the drill, a quick briefing is given, and the firefighters on duty go back to their daily chores.
Time went by, we had the firefighter foul.
We practice it a lot. We've been very lucky that we've never had a mayday called.
Though a firefighter's life can be equally exciting and stressful, there's an area of duty which even they can't skip.
Of course you have to clean. If you don't clean your house, then we live here for 24 hours. If I didn't clean my house at home or my wife didn't help clean the house at home, it'd be a disaster. Same way with the firehouse. So the guys have to keep things clean, but it's also a matter of pride. You know, we have visitors come into the firehouse and we don't want them to walk into a firehouse that's not clean. The taxpayers pay a lot of money to build this station for us, and we do the best we can to maintain it and show them that we appreciate what they've given us and that we're proud of what we have.
Just do our daily chores in the morning and make sure they get done, and after that we just kind of clean up our messes as they go.
Coming here, we clean everything. Typically mop, sweep, do the bathrooms. It's part of just like the daily life of the firehouse.
As the station settles down for lunch, a call is received. Two EMS personnel respond to a report of an unconscious person in a gray vehicle. Preparing for the worst, the team don protective bulletproof vests. As they arrive on scene, the EMS responders look for the gray vehicle mentioned. Several of the vehicles in proximity are empty. Finally, the team is notified that the man was taken to a nearby apartment. Inside, EMS responders are notified that the patient in question has ingested a lethal dose of heroin.
Copy, we'll see you on arrival. Go ahead and lay back.
At risk of an overdose, the responders administer Narcan.
No. Bucket up there for
Famous for its reversal of drug overdoses, it is one of the most important injectable items in the paramedic arsenal. As they administer Narcan, the responders work to calm the patient, ensuring him that everything will be fine.
You know now?
I can feel it. Okay. I got you, buddy. A little bit of messing. Ready?
In the past decade, heroin use more than doubled among young adults. And even worse, the amount of overdoses have seen a steady rise. The frequency in which Truro Township Fire Department responds to overdose situations is shocking, but it only proves how widespread the heroin epidemic has become. As the treatment brings the patient to a point of awareness, the responders rush him to a nearby hospital.
Use up to your head if you need to.
just more addicts out there, which are going to naturally result in more overdoses. And everything you're hearing is that, you know, the heroin nowadays is laced with all kinds of different substances, things like fentanyl and carfentanil, which are just very highly potent narcotics, and that's causing more overdoses. Certainly, if you're buying illegal drugs, you don't know exactly what's in there, you don't know exactly what the dose is, so it's very easy to overdose. So, you know, it's just kind of sad state of our society where we've come with opiates, and you know, I don't know if it's going to get better or worse, but you know, I think that's why we're using so much Narcan now compared to, you know, 15, 20 years ago.
You know, we're kind of in the front of the opioid epidemic too, so we have a lot of resources to get people in touch with, you know, to get them into rehab, whether it's their first or 10th time dealing with an overdose, and same with, you know, abuse or you know, poor family living, or if somebody needs to get into some kind of extended health care like a nursing home or something. So we do a lot more than we used to, we really do.
Although overdoses account for some of the calls taken by the Truro Township Fire Department, most calls are far less dramatic. Inside of a senior home in Reynoldsburg, Ohio, EMS responders help an elderly woman after a fall. After concluding that her injuries weren't threatening, and by request of the patient, the EMS responders do nothing more than check the patient's vitals. In times like these, EMS responders know their role, to care about the patient in their time of need, no matter the situation.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Take care.
You too.
As our weekend with the fire department came to a close, we learned that being a firefighter and EMS responder isn't about the money. It isn't about the uniform. It isn't about being a hero. Being part of the Truro Township Fire Department is about realizing that a community is stronger when it works together. The same bonds that tie families together are the ones that tie these men and women to us. Above all, the men and women of Station 162 truly understand the meaning of service over self.
The main reason that people get into this service is public service, to help the community and to be there when they need us. That's the end goal.
Being able to make a difference in someone's day, you know, it's just as little as making someone smile or make them laugh a little bit, you know, make them feel like they're a person, and that their emergency is something that is an emergency to them, you know, and we're there at their worst day, and that's what we try to do, is make someone's day better, and I feel like helping someone in the community is awesome.
You know, just having the honor of being able to serve our public and to provide a very important service, I think personally that gives me, you know, pride in this community. So.